Welcome, high school football fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for our sectional draw reaction special. Here today, your host, here today with Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood call leader, and Grant Shouse from the Action Sports Network and our IU guy. And Grant, IU do anything special this weekend?
They did, yeah. Good weekend for me too, and the Colts won today as well. Sectional draw week. Good time of the year right now, and I'm levitating, let me tell you.
And Michelle, of course, is an IU grad, and her Packers won today.
Yep, Colts
good weekend.
Yep, I was excited about the IU win. Of course, I was very excited for the Tipton boys soccer team to win the sectional and advance to the regional semifinals on Wednesday.
Great weekend all around.
Yes.
Guys, I drove from Jeffersonville to Lebanon back to Jeffersonville today to visit family, so I have not seen the sectional draw, except I got a text from Michelle telling me about my alma mater, Frankton, and we'll get to that. But I'm going to start in 6A with Sectional 1 and just kind of go through each sectional very quickly. If you guys have anything to add, please do. Sectional 1, we have unbeaten Crown Point and unbeaten Penn. They are on opposite sides of the bracket. And reminder, Class 6A and 5A don't start until week 2 of the postseason. They are all 4-team sectionals except Sectional 14. So Sectional 2 is the Fort Wayne area, and it'll be Fort Wayne Carroll and Fort Wayne Northrop on opposite sides of the bracket. Elkhart could also be a factor. Carroll starts at Elkhart. Carroll just beat Northrop this week for the SAC championship. Sectional 3 is our first local sectional, and it's 3-5 Zionsville at 6-2 Westfield in one semifinal. The other semifinal is 7-1 Carmel hosting Harrison. So probably Westfield at Carmel in the championship. Carmel would be at home because they're in the bottom half of the bracket. But Westfield Zionsville wasn't a blowout the first time.
I expect Zionsville to be capable of an upset in that sectional in the first round, but I really don't think that will happen. But I think that championship, Westfield at Carmel, would be a one of the must-sees in the state if don't have a local school that you really want to care, but you like high school football and you want to see a great game. That would be one I would definitely put on my list.
There's no question about it. I mean, it's a rivalry game. Juices are going to be flowing for that one. That'll be a really intriguing one, but you got to play those first two matchups first, and we'll just see how it pans out. But you're right, it's starting to really look like a Westfield Carmel sectional championship.
And Carmel won the regular season game 34-10 in week 2. I think that was a surprise at the time. I'm pretty sure we all picked Westfield.
I think I may have picked Carmel because of Colner's family, but
yeah, that's possible. But the general consensus
yeah, but at that
that
time
Westfield
we didn't really realize that Westfield was missing a key lineman, one or two key players, and since they've come back, it's been a little bit of a different Westfield team. So I would expect a rematch to be much closer than that first one.
Sectional 4 is also local. It's 5-3 Hamilton Southeastern at 5-3 Homestead, and 5-3 Fishers at 1-7 Noblesville. And if everything works out like we expect, it'll be Hamilton Southeastern at Fishers in the sectional championship.
Yes, Mudsock 2.0, right? It would be probably another dogfight.
First time around, it was Fishers 28-16 at Fishers. Sectional 5, it's 2-6 Ben Davis at 4-4 Avon, and unbeaten defending state champion number 1 Brownsburg at Pike. I think we'll probably see Avon and Pike, but Ben Davis might have something to say about that.
And here's the one thing that I know, Grant, you just don't like Avon. If Avon does win and they play another game with Brownsburg, would get home field in the championship. So.
And no matter where Brownsburg's going to play their opponent, I'm not sure it's going to matter. They're the obvious favorite going into that sectional, so we'll just have to see. But Brownsburg obviously is going to be favored going in.
In the regional, probably Lawrence North, but also Decatur Central's won 6 in a row and playing really well, who Brownsburg would likely face in that region. Bottom quarter of the state, and it's going to be Warren Central and Center Grove in the regional. Can we just mark that down?
No kidding.
Definitely.
We move to Class 5A, and we start in the north. And Sectional 9, Merrillville is the huge favorite. Sectional 10, Michigan City, Valparaiso, and Chesterton all seem to be about even. And it's 6-2 Michigan City at 2-6 Valpo, 2-6 LaPorte at 5-3 Chesterton. Sectional 11, Concord and Warsaw are the favorites, and they open against each other. 5-3 Warsaw at 7-1 Concord. Fort Wayne North likely to come out of the other half. Sectional 12, and a reminder once again, the A and 5A sectionals do not begin until the second week of the postseason.
Greg, those teams will not play until Halloween after this Friday, for people just, to get a date on that.
I was trying to figure that out in my head. I should have just looked.
Trick or treat night.
Can't wait. Sectional 12 is our first local sectional, and that has 7-1 Lafayette Jeff at 2-6 McCutcheon, 2-6 Kokomo at 4-4 South Bend Adams. Jeff is the huge favorite in that. South Bend Adams has had a bit of a disappointing season. They were ranked to begin the year.
I'll say this about Lafayette Jeff is I saw them this past Friday against Marion, and they are, they're the real deal. They move so quickly. I've not seen a high school team get to the line that quick and fire their offense that quick. The one concern I have with Lafayette Jeff is, for keeping them to have a really deep run into the tournament is the fact they haven't played any close games this year. The closest game they played was a game they lost in the first week. A lot of football's been played then. That starts to kind of get pushed backwards a little bit. You can't really use that, I don't think, anymore because you haven't had that since. So if they get in a close competitive game with a team, I don't know it'll happen in the sectional, probably happen in the regional, or maybe even if they get to the semi-state. If they get into a competitive game, watch out for whoever they're playing because Jeff just hasn't been there before.
I think Jeff is the favorite in the north half of the entire bracket. The favorites in the entire state in Class 5A are both in Sectional 13. It's 5-3 Cathedral at 1-7 Anderson. Oof. And 8-0 New Pal at 6-2 Plainfield. So the sectional championship likely Cathedral at New Pal.
Poor Shane Arnold. What an introduction to 5A football tournament. You get Cathedral, perennial power.
Oh.
New Pal, I don't look for them to be challenged by Plainfield, but Plainfield is a team you just can't afford to take for granted. Cathedral New Pal.
If New Pal doesn't play well, they can lose that game.
Yeah, but Cathedral New Pal is another one of those really good sectional championship matchups if they are both in the championship game. I mean, that would be an exciting matchup because both teams have good traditional, good football tradition.
Sectional 14 is the only 5-team sectional in Class 5A. Man, the IHSAA, I just don't even get me started. The favorite in that one is East Central. They open with Franklin. The other favorite would be Whiteland. They open with Seymour. Columbus East draws the first round bye and will face either Seymour or Whiteland. Sectional 15 is the 2 Bloomington schools and the 2 Terre Haute schools, which means Bloomington South will be your sectional champion. They open against Terre Haute South, which is the second best team in the sectional. Then we'll have an easy game in the sectional championship. Sectional 16, Evansville North and Castle are both 6-2. Floyd Central is 7-1. They're all 3 pretty good teams. Evansville North did beat Castle in week 2, and it's going to be an interesting sectional. And New Albany is 0-8 and will not be a factor. We move to Class 4A. I just want to tell everybody, I'm not going to read all the pairings. Apparently, the IHSAA did that very well today. Just our immediate reaction to what went on Sunday's night draw. Reminder, I'm here with Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader and Grant Shouse of the Action Sports Network. And we are to Class 4A, and we start in the north, where Lowell and Hobart are the two favorites. They're on opposite sides of the bracket. Sectional 18, Mishawaka seems like the favorite in that one. They start at Northwood, which for most of Indiana football history would have been a really tough game. South Bend St. Joe is unbeaten for the first time through 8 weeks since they won the state championship. I believe that was 1995, and they could definitely be a factor, but Mishawaka is the favorite according to the Sagron Ring. Sectional 19, the Fort Wayne area sectional, has a lot of good teams, including Dwenger at Leo to start the sectional. 6-2 Dwenger at 7-1 Leo. On the other side of the bracket is second-ranked East Noble, which has been second, I think, all season. They should advance from a very weak side of that bracket. Sectional 22 is our first local sectional, and it's an interesting one. Seems to be a little bit wide open. I think Lebanon is the favorite, Logansport being the top contender to them. And Lebanon starts at Culver Academy. 7-1 Lebanon at 2-6 Culver Academy. 5-3 Muncie Central goes to 1-7 Marion in a rematch. Muncie Central beat Marion 41-21 on September 19th. And defending champion Huntington North is 3-5 at 6-2 Logansport. And Frankfort will take on the Lebanon Culver Academy winner. So it looks like Lebanon's going to get a pretty easy ride to the championship, where they hope to get revenge on Huntington North, but it'll probably be Logansport.
And that stinks for Frankfort right there. You've had a horrible season so far, and then you basically have to wait 2 weeks to accept your fate there. So not a good draw. But for Marion, Muncie Central, I expect Muncie Central to take care of business against Marion once again. That Marion team is awful.
I think it's great for Lebanon, and I really look for the Tigers to, as long as they stay focused, I look for them to get that sectional. They've played in a lot of close games, and they're a really good football team. I mean, you win those close games, that's always nice and bodes well for you as you head into the tournament.
Lebanon's only sectional championship came in 1997. They've never won a regional championship. In order to win a regional championship, they'll have to go through East Noble, Dwenger, or Leo, but let's get that sectional championship first. By the way, first year for Coach Josh Yoder, great job by him. Sectional 21 is also a local sectional where Pendleton Heights and Yorktown just played last week. They are the two favorites in this one, and they are in opposite sides of the bracket. It starts with 5-3 Beech Grove, which has had an amazing rebound season after going winless last year. They're at 3-5 Richmond, so they should come out of that one and take on 6-2 Yorktown. In week 2, Yorktown would be at home for that one. On the other side of the bracket, 7-1 Pendleton Heights is at winless Mount Vernon, and 2-6 Newcastle at 4-4 Greenfield Central. So it'll probably be Greenfield Central at Pendleton Heights in that semifinal. That was an amazingly good game this week. Hopefully we'll get that as a sectional championship rematch.
Pendleton Heights could possibly get tripped up if they are thinking that and looking ahead to a rematch, but I don't think so. I think they'll both get to the sectional final, barring a major injury to a major player. It should be another great game.
Sectional 22, the two favorites, Roncalli and Chittard, maybe the two favorites to win a state championship, are on opposite sides of the bracket. 5-3 Roncalli does open at 7-1 Northview, so not an easy one, but they will probably win that game. And Chittard in the semifinal would likely play 7-1 Addicts, but we expect it to be Roncalli and Chittard.
All Catholic championship.
Like usual.
Yes.
Sectional 23 looks like a wide open sectional with HHC runner-up Bedford North Lawrence and 6-2 Charlestown on opposite sides of the bracket. The rest of the teams in the sectional are pretty bad. Shelbyville's probably the third best team, and they're not very good. And sectional 24 is a different story. That's where Heritage Hills and Jasper, Evansville Wrights all reside. Wrights will likely play at Heritage Hills in the semifinal. On the other side, Jasper, a huge favorite to come out of it. So I think we're looking at a Heritage Hills Jasper championship there. and a Heritage Hills championship in the end.
Yep.
They are definitely coming out of that regional.
They're good.
They are good. Jet Goldsberry is. In Class 3A, Knox and Griffith, the two favorites to win that sectional 25, are on the same side of the bracket and will play at Knox in the semifinal.
McLaughlin. Knox has got to keep going because I think the only chance I'll have to see him is if he's in the state finals, and I really want to see this kid. I mean, the numbers he's putting up every week are just incredible.
Yeah, nation best numbers.
Needs over 2,000 yards to break Derrick Henry's all-time high school rushing yard record. So they're going to have to make a deep run in the tournament, but we'll just have to see how that bodes for him.
They start at 1-7 Jimtown, so he should get a really good start. Sectional 26, it looks like Tippecanoe Valley is the favorite in that one. They open at 4-4 Angola. West Noble is on the same side of the bracket, 6-2. They would face each other in the semifinals. Sectional 27 is our first local one in Class 3A. 4-4 Northwestern starts at 2-6 Peru. The winner facing either 8-0 Maconaquah or 6-2 Twin Lakes. That should be a great game.
It should be.
On the bottom half of the bracket, it's 2-6 West Lafayette at 6-2 Western, and 1-7 Frankton at 0-8 Benton Central. So the Eagles get themselves on a roll before having to face West Lafayette or Western.
Yes, at least for Frankton. I mean, last year they drew West Lafayette out of the gate. They had to go make that trip all the way over. Kind of a short night for them, long trip home. They're going to have another long trip, but at least this year they should come home with a W. And then they will get West Lafayette or Western at their place. So not a bad draw for the Eagles. That draw probably went as well as it could have for them.
That's right. And Maconaquah Twin Lakes in the first round. I'll just say right now, I'm picking Twin Lakes.
I think I am too. I think that passing attack, and you look at the teams in the Three Rivers, and I just don't think they spread the field like Twin Lakes is capable of spreading the field.
Sectional 28, and now we are in Grant's neighborhood. 7-1 Mississinewa opens at 5-3 Oak Hill. Great first round matchup. Mississinewa beat Oak Hill 20-0 on September 5th, but that game was tied well into the third quarter, 0-0. It's going to be an interesting one. The other game in that half of the draw, it's 2-6 Jay County at 0-8 Belmont. So the winner of Mississinewa Oak Hill should be in the championship. 5-3 Heritage opens against 1-7 Norwell, and defending champion Lures is at 3-5 Delta, two teams that have had a lot of postseason success recently. It looks like a lot of teams in that sectional can win it.
It's going to be an interesting one. That Oak Hill Mississinewa game jumps out at you. It's the second year in a row they've drawn each other. This year it's at Oak Hill, so Mississinewa will get to play Oak Hill twice, both at Oak Hill, which usually it kind of seems like when a team draws one team that they played them at one place before, they'll play them at the other later on in the tournament. But not how this one works. It's going to be an interesting game. Oak Hill certainly has improved as the year's gone on. They're going to have a tough game against Eastbrook on Friday, but Mississinewa's going to have an interesting game with Madison Grant as well on Friday. So both those will help them for the tournament. It's going to be a lot closer than what people think.
I spent all year saying that the Lures team wasn't a typical Lures team, and then they ended up winning that sectional. This year, I'm going to say they really are not a typical Lures team. Not a typical Lures team. Still dangerous to win this sectional, aren't they?
It's history. You look at the history. Lures is used to winning football tournaments, and whether they go in undefeated with 1 loss, 2 loss, 3 losses, and even if they're 500, that's why kids go to Lures to play football, is to be part of championship teams.
And I think that'll be an interesting game, Lures at Delta. Delta's playing a little better, and according to the Sagarin rating, Lures would be favored by a point. We have two local teams in sectional 29, and they open against each other. 4-4 Guerin Catholic at 4-4 Hamilton Heights.
That could be very interesting game. I'm sure the Huskies are happy to have that game at home, so it will be an interesting matchup.
According to the Sagarin ratings, Hamilton Heights, going into this week at least, would be a 12-point favorite. It would also be a huge favorite in the second round. They'll play either Speedway, which is winless, or 3-5 Crawfordsville, which is not good. On the other side of the bracket, though, awaits Cascade and Tri-West.
For Heights, though, that went perfect. You play a good team the first week. The second week, Coach Mike Toll and Coach Aaron Toll have always said that the second week is the trap week. The first week you're excited to play for the tournament. The third week you're playing for a title, but that second week you're not really playing for anything. So it's great for Heights because they get a team they can focus on, be fired up to go play first round. Second round, they're going to get a team that they should beat. You hope Cascade and Tri-West have beaten up everybody. But I will say this, just based on what Cascade has done this year, I say they are a heavy favorite in that sectional.
Heavy favorite in that sectional. And maybe the favorite in the entire South. Sectional 30. Lawrenceburg is a huge favorite, and they drew a first-round bye. They're going to win that sectional. Sectional 31, Indian Creek is a big favorite. They drew a first-round bye. They should win that, although Scottsburg is 7-1 on the other side of the bracket. Still should be Indian Creek. And then sectional 32 is where Gibson Southern, Evansville Memorial, and Evansville Mater Dei all reside. And Memorial, ranked number 1 in the state, drew a first-round bye and will face Gibson Southern or Vincent. So we'll face Gibson Southern in the second round at Gibson Southern. So big draw for them. In Class 2A, we start in sectional 33, where favorite Andrean drew a first-round bye and would face unbeaten Wheeler in the second round. So that championship will probably be determined in the second week. Sectional 34, we have a couple of local teams. Delphi, 2-6, starts at 7-1 Southmont. 3-5 North Putnam at 5-3 Western Boone. So it'll be a rematch 2 weeks ago. Classic. Western Boone and Southmont. This time it'll be played at Western Boone. On the other side of the bracket, the favorite is Seeger, but also Lafayette Central Catholic is in that bracket and knows how to win championships.
This team is a very young team, Central Catholic team, a freshman quarterback who's going to be, as he improves, Central Catholic, they're not going to be a factor in this sectional.
Seems like the sectional championship in 34 will be determined in the semifinals between Southmont and Western Boone.
Exactly, I think so too.
Sectional 35 is where Adams Central resides. They are on the same side of the bracket with Bluffton, but they just beat Bluffton by about 100 points on Friday. That game will be played at Bluffton, though.
When you talk about things like that, my mind always goes back to what Mississinawa did to Tipton in 1988, and then what Tipton turned around and did to Mississinawa on the regional in 1988 on their way to the Dome.
And Elwood beat Mississinawa 33-0 one year, and then played them in the sectional championship 3 weeks later and lost.
So I mean,
it does happen.
It does happen. I think Adams Central will win, but I mean,
yes,
it all depends on if Bluffton, as long as Bluffton believes they can win and thinks that they've got something to prove, they can make it interesting.
Sectional 36 is the sectional that we at the Central Indiana Sports Report are most interested in. It's 8-0 Eastbrook at 6-2 Alexandria in the by far best game of the first round.
Oh yeah.
Also, the winner will face 7-1 Rochester or 2-6 Elwood. It'll be Rochester at Elwood. So either way, it looks like that semifinal will be at Rochester.
Yes, it will be.
Unless Elwood pulls off an upset.
Yes.
And on the bottom half of the bracket, it looks like it should be an Tipton at Eastern semifinal. Eastern starts at Blackford, should win easily. The Comet 7-1, and Tipton 4-4 hosts 1-7 Wabash. So Tipton at Eastern in the semifinal, and Eastbrook or Alexandria at Rochester is what we're probably looking at.
I'll say this. I talked to Coach Toll the other night, and I just asked him what he would like in the how he'd like to draw. This was not quite what he wanted. He didn't want to be at home the first week. He was
he would have loved to have been at Wabash.
He wanted to be at home in the championship the first 2 weeks, and if Rochester get at the top, then Tipton would be home in the championship. But if it's Eastbrook, the game will be at Eastbrook.
Not discount Alexandria.
No. I'm saying if it would be Eastbrook, I'm not going to discount Alexandria because they gave Eastbrook a run for their money earlier this year. Here's the thing with Alexandria. They have had trouble with Eastbrook in the sectional. I won't count out Alexandria. I was just saying, if it is, and for Tipton, again, even if it's Alexandria in the championship, they would get the championship at home because Alexandria is going to have had a home game.
Yep.
Rochester or Alexandria would be at Tipton. Tipton would be at Eastbrook.
Yeah, and this is a obviously very intriguing sectional. It's loaded. You have 3 or 4 teams in that sectional that are capable of winning it. I think you even maybe have 5 teams in that sectional that are capable of winning it.
No doubt.
The Eastbrook-Alexandria game is a game that I'm looking forward to seeing. I don't know if I'll have the call for that one yet. I really hope I do. I can't think of a better scenario, but I don't always get the best scenario. But that'll be a fun one. Alexandria, they'll have a relatively easy game this week against Blackford. Well, not relatively. It will be an easy game against Blackford to get ready for the sectional against Eastbrook. That's the thing is Alexandria, you don't want to look ahead, but we'll kind of be able to maybe go lighter against a bad Blackford team this week, while Eastbrook's kind of got to really prepare well. And they really got to, get ready for Oak Hill, which is not going to be a cakewalk for them. So it's going to be a fun one.
Championship. They're not playing for nothing this week.
Exactly. That's why I think for a team like Eastbrook, really for every team, your tournament run starts this week. You want to play your first game, or, you want to play your game this week just as good as you'd play in the sectional. So it starts this week, and we'll see how it turns out. But I'll be interested to see who wins that sectional. I'd be surprised if it was someone other than what we're going to pick later on.
Spoiler alert, and we'll be making our picks next week. As of right now, I'm taking Alexandria.
Oh, I will say this for Tipton. They go to Benton Central this Friday, a long road trip. It should be an easy game. I don't think Coach Toll wanted Wabash, Elwood, or Blackford in week 1. I think he wanted a stronger team. I will say this. I'm happy for the Elwood Panthers. It's the same team they drew last year in the first round, but at least this year they don't have to make the trip to Rochester. I'm looking forward to, I think Tipton Eastern could be a very intriguing semifinal matchup. It was a sectional championship game last year, and so it should be very interesting.
I'm going to predict that at the end of the first round, that scoreboard that night, there's going to be people saying, wow, I can't believe how well Elwood played Rochester. I think Elwood's going to give them more of a game than people expect. Sectional 37, Indianapolis Lutheran, the 2-time champion and defending state runner-up, is the heavy favorite in that when they open at Covenant Christian and should roll through that. Heritage Christian is on the other side of the bracket, should be the only team to give them any kind of pressure. Sectional 38 is a local sectional. The 2 favorites, 7-1 Triton Central and unbeaten Lapel, are on the opposite side of the bracket. But neither team has an easy run there by any means. This is a tough sectional. 7-1 Northeastern is at 5-3 Shenandoah. I think that's a toss-up. 7-1 Triton Central is at 6-2 Centerville. Triton Central will be the favorite, but not certain to get out of that at all. 8-0 Lapel's at 7-1 Winchester. Lapel should get out of that, but not easy at all. And 5-3 Eastern Hancock has been playing very well at the only team in the sectional that's not good, Union County.
Hey,
your thought,
it's going
Michelle?
to be a very competitive sectional. I like the Lapel Bulldogs. Because I like the fact that they have the best quarterback in that sectional. So, in my opinion. So.
Yeah. I'll be picking lapel too, but it's definitely not a sure thing. That is a tough section. Sectional 39, Linton Stockton is a heavy favorite. They start with winless Mitchell, and they should roll into the final where they would likely play Sullivan. Sectional 40, Brownstown Central, and the southernmost sectional is going to easily win that sectional. 35 points better than any team in the sectional according to the Sagarin rating. And finally, we move to Class A. We start in the northernmost sectional, sectional 41, where North Judson, ranked third in the state, is the favorite. LaVille should be their top competition. Would face them in the semifinals. West Central should come out of the other side. Sectional 42, Pioneer, Carroll, and defending sectional champion Taylor are the favorites. Pioneer is on one side of the bracket where they will face Caston. 7-1 Pioneer, 2-6 Caston. The winner will face unbeaten Frontier or 1-7 Tri-County. In the bottom half of the bracket resides 5-2 Carroll. They're at 2-6 Winnemac, 2-6 North Whites at 5-2 Taylor. So it'll likely be Taylor at Carroll in the semifinal.
Yeah, that will be intriguing to who your Heartland Conference rivals battling each other. It's an intriguing sectional. It'll be at Carroll. Well, then I might make the Cougars a slight favorite because what the Cougars might do is decide not to mow the football field or cut it very short, so it slows down the speed of Taylor. So, but I think that's the difference between a physical football team and a fast football team.
Sectional 43, it's 6-2 North Miami at 1-7 Northfield in the first round. The winner will be at home against 3-5 Southwood in the semifinals. The other half of the bracket, 2-6 Southern Wells at 5-3 Triton, and 2-6 Fort Wayne Blackhawk at 5-3 Fremont.
That'll be a fun one for our network. We're guaranteed someone in the championship. Looks like it's going to be North Miami at this point. That's a Northfield team that has just struggled all year long. A good draw for North Miami to get to the championship and probably match up with Triton, who they're going to play this Friday. They probably get another crack at them in the sectional final. So again, we'll have to see how that one turns out, but I like North Miami to come out of that one.
And in sectional 44, there are two favorites, and they draw each other in the first round. 5-3 Madison Grant at 5-3 South Adams. The winner faces either 4-3 West L or 4-4 Tri.
That's a killer, wasn't it? Both coaches, both teams had to be so disappointed maybe not disappointed, but just kind of like, to see each other in the first round.
Let's determine the sectional championship right here and now in the first round.
For Madison Grant, that kind of stings having to go on the road to South Adams, a program that's been really good over the years, a championship level program, have some championship level pedigree to them. Madison Grant, it sounds like to me, is getting Dylan Martin back as their quarterback if he's not played already. I have them this Friday, so I'll get the first look. So I'll get my first look of the year at them. And the thing is with Madison Grant is this week against Mississinawa, that's a really good test going into the tournament. Yeah, playing a team like Mississinawa before you go in and play a really good team in South Adams, if Madison Grant may not come out on top on Friday. They could, but if they don't, then they'll have a lot of things that they can learn from this Friday against Mississinawa and then carry that in to the tournament against South Adams.
I know you picked Madison Grant the last couple of years and thought they would get really far in the tournament, and I think for them it might not be a bad thing because they're going to play their tournament nemesis right off the bat, and if they can win that, they should be real confident.
I'm taking Madison Grant to win the sectional and regional. Just letting you know. Sectional 45, the two heavy favorites are South Putnam and Riverton Park. They will play each other in the sectional championship. Sectional 46 is our last local sectional, and 5-2 Sheridan. 3 and 4 Clinton Prairie, and 1 and 6 Tinley all draw first round byes in a 5-team sectional. Of course, this is the sectional that Tri Central was supposed to be in. It's 3 and 5 Clinton Central at 5 and 3 Cloverdale in the first round. The winner will play Tinley, so very good chance for Clinton Central to get in the sectional championship. And the sectional championship will likely be determined in the semifinal. 5 and 2 Sheridan at 3 and 4 Clinton Prairie. Sheridan beat Clinton Prairie 40-6 on September 19th.
I think that this is Sheridan sectional to lose.
No doubt. Sectional 40 North Decatur is a giant favorite in that one. They will play Knightstown most likely in the semifinal. Could be a decent test. That's the only team with any chance to beat them. Sectional 48, Springs Valley is number 1 in the state. Providence is the favorite in that sectional. Despite that fact, they will play each other in the semifinals in Clarksville. That's it, guys. Thanks for going through that with me. Final thoughts, Grant?
We always map out worst case scenario kind of, and then best case scenario. And best case scenario wasn't exactly what we got with our network tonight, but this was just as good, if not better. So we'll take it, and we'll get ready for the tournament. But we still got a whole week of a regular season schedule left to play. It's going to be a good week. We have some good games coming up this week that I know we'll talk about in our preview, like Oak Hill and Eastbrook, Mississinawa, Madison, Grant are those are just
good week there. Elwood, Frankton.
Elwood, Frankton's going to be good. So there's going to be some good games coming up to get us ready for the tournament, and I think kind of get your football fix before we go into the sectional on the 24th. And hopefully a lot of our teams in our area on the Action Sports Network and East Central Indiana Sports Report, hopefully maybe at least one of them we'll be talking about on Thanksgiving weekend. So, and the road to Lucas Oil started today with the sectional draw on TV, and it'll conclude on Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Thanks so much to Grant and Michelle, and to you for listening. Please do us a huge favor and share this podcast with a high school football fan in your life, and help spread the word that the Central Indiana Sports Report is here, talking about Central Indiana sports every single day. Grant, Michelle, and I will be back on Thursday with our Week 9 previews and predictions. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.